Sort of, let's say, a bit of freedom moving around by boat. You get a nice change of scenery, going from sort of built-up areas into sort of more natural environments around Hackney Marshes and sort of Walthamstow Marshes. It's quite a nice blend, really, sort of changing through times of year and sort of getting a break from the centre of London.
What I think I like about the marshes the most is the lack of formal space. They're really really unique in their history as well as their actual function as a space.
I have only recently discovered Hackney Marshes through my running.
You can cycle down the hills and it's a bit like, you know, there's muddy and whatever, and it's quite fun to cycle around here.
They know me. I'm almost sure they know where I live.
I like that it's unspoiled, and I like that it's a bit rough, and I like that it's just that it feels like a space that is allowed to have its own life. And I do worry that it's going to be transformed into something that won't have the same feel anymore.
We were told by various architects that were working on the Olympics was that the parks are seen as barriers because they're unsafe to walk through at night. Big open spaces, you have a lot of people walking their dogs. They've got a big issue in this area with status dogs, big dogs which people are afraid of. For us it's about increasing natural surveillance, which will then encourage people to use the routes more, so that you've always got normal everyday people within these spaces that are looking out for you.
As a member of the cycling campaign, we've responded to a number of consultations on the marshes. The most recent one was Cowbridge, where the council wanted to reintroduce a car park and to open a bridge that was previously closed to motor vehicles, to reopen it, and we were very concerned about that because it was going to bring more traffic onto the marshes and in the surrounding areas.
Well, I don't like the thought of coaches coming through very much. I find the thought of that really disruptive, and I find it difficult to imagine that it's not going to hugely impact on the rest of the marshes.
You know, that'd be another piece of the marsh that's going to go, because where are they going to park?
As with here, you put a big car park on and people will use it. It will just be taken over by cars. This car park is already over full. They had to close it today. And you facilitate car use and people will use cars. You've got to facilitate alternative transport. You've got to facilitate cycling and public transport. By creating transport, and particularly by creating permeability across, you create a presence in a space which isn't necessarily associated with that space. Yeah. When that space is important for wildlife and quietness and wildness, which is what people identify, then there is a risk that you're bringing the noise of elsewhere to that space. So even if it's inconvenient to go round it, in some sense, that inconvenience is important for protecting that space.
And we don't want lots of bridges over, and we don't want walkways, thank you very much. We've got enough. Leave it as it is. It's completely fine.
Things and conserving things to be as they are is a bit boring.
I really think there's general problems with upkeep and maintenance. The issues around rubbish collection, maintenance of the buildings and the paths. really detract from the quality of the space. However, it doesn't deter me from using it. So.
I also wouldn't cycle or necessarily walk here at night.
I did see some figures, I think they were from 2006 or 2007, and the place with the least recorded incidents of anything happening to anyone is Hackney Marshes. So I think that people have this fear of, because there's no one around, anything can happen. It's quite a safe space, I think. And once you kind of come around to the fact that it's not actually a dangerous place, I think people should just come here more.
Even now, you go down to Hackney Marshes, you could be like only 2 other people there, and that's incredible. Like, that's a really special thing.
On the other hand, you know, it's also kind of a spoiled opinion to enjoy a place because not very many people come there. If more people come here and make use of it because of transformations that have been done, positive transformations, I think that's a good thing, because it's, you know, it's a really good space and more kids should come here.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with the Olympics when that is actually on, and whether there's more usage from people outside the local area.
How to use open spaces in a free and informal way without necessarily doing a sport activity or something like that, but just to be there.
From a signing point of view, is putting in less signs and actually try to encourage people to engage in maps, using the environment where you can to improve natural legibility. So by using things like street furniture, lighting, by planting a row of trees or something, you can help reinforce that this is a main route through a place rather than having to signpost it at every junction. But actually use things like public art, public installations, exhibitions, to actually inject some personality along your journey.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world, what a wonderful world, yeah. I see skies of blue, yeah, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful